3, 2, 1.
Ha ha! There we are, people. We are live right now. You're going to see a little bit of lag there on your screen. It's because we weren't 100% sure where we were at. I'm starting to learn this delay gimmick. So it would seem like we came to you 45 seconds to a minute late, but really we didn't. We were already there. We already had things going. I mean, it was awesome.
Where are we at, Daddy?
What do you mean, where are we
Where is this place?
Now that I've brought you in, I'm sorry I got all caught up in the delay thing. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you into my show, The Shootin Range.
Oh, recoil.
With my guest host this evening, the one and only Jordan Jacobs.
That's me. Man, and I'm in a good mood. I tell you what, I'm in a fantastic mood.
Are you?
We're here on the shooting range.
Yes, with the natural born leader, Johnny Z.
And his close friend, the
Lights
Pomeranian.
Out. What?
Jordan Lights Out. Jordan Jacobs. Yes.
Somehow he became a Pomeranian. I've always called him Indian.
No. You certainly never did that on the show.
I don't know why you have a problem with the Indian thing.
Oh, man, because it's completely and utterly not true.
You know, somebody is on the phone line already.
Are they really?
First off, Wesley Bradfield, can you hear us all right? Because if you can hear us all right, then that means the rest of the world can hear us all right. You can? You're sure?
High
hey,
five,
man,
Wesley.
Did you see where I was going with the whole music delay thing? Did you see how it almost worked out if I stay ahead of that? I know, and I think I've got it. Next, this whole shooting range opening, ladies and gentlemen. This whole see, that's why he's not Jermaine Johnson yet. Which, by the way, again, we are missing our other partner here, Jermaine Johnson, a man who has ran the roads with us for a long time now.
Where'd he go?
Yeah, we're missing him.
Miss you, dog.
He's got to have tonight off one more time. He's got some big news coming for the shooting range world. He'll be here next week to share that news.
Gotta fix my robe.
I have no idea what I was getting ready to say. I know I was talking to Wesley, and I was all like, if you can hear us, everyone else can hear us. You know what I want to do? I know what else they can hear.
What's that?
Hold on. First, let me bring in our guest here. Is this Twitterless Rob?
You never hardly see someone drive from the half court all the way to the last right to microphone. Now, offensively, they turn the ball over too much.
What exactly are we listening to? Is this Twitterless Rob?
A lot of shots. They're giving up a lot of passes.
Rob.
Am I on the line right now?
Oh, this is Donnybrook.
Oh, I didn't press 1 to get on the show. I was just trying to listen.
You don't want to be on the show. You just want to. So you're an asshole.
No, you guys weren't online yet. I was just kind of hanging out.
What do
that's
you mean
cool,
we
man.
weren't online? We've been online for approximately going on 5 minutes now.
Oh, I was watching NBA games, so I was
Who watches NBA?
What is the
Donnie?
NBA?
I think it's a work. I think so. I think a ref said
The
that
national.
one time. He should know. He's a ref.
Oh,
You-
bam!
yes, that's why
Ladies
he
and
watches
gentlemen,
NBA.
I want to let you know that a gentleman by the name of Donnie Brooks, with all hopes, will be re-debuting here at Impact Zone Wrestling sometime in the near future again. Is that correct, Donnie Brooks?
Post-Mania, yes, sir.
Post-Mania. We're getting put off for some little rinky-dink show in Louisiana.
Aren't you the guy that refed my very
Sorry.
first match?
Hey,
Very first match. 3J, jumping George Jacobs.
Jumping Jordan
Donnie
Jacobs.
Brooks, I want us to hear something. You ready for this? This is for the world
Sure.
to hear. Oh, yeah. The world can hear. If you're on Blog Talk Radio right now, you're hearing my jam.
Yep.
On YouTube, you'll hear it in about 45 seconds.
That's ridiculous. Because we're here
Oh,
on the shooting range.
Donnie Brooks, do you have anything interesting on your mind tonight? You obviously wanted to talk. You were waiting for us to get online.
Oh no, I just like listening to the show. There's nothing special going on.
Well, you are awesome. I wish we could get some other people that enjoyed listening to the show.
Oh, there ain't none of them.
It takes commitment, people, and that's what we have.
And
Some of
rats.
you don't have what?
Keep going.
That's what she said.
Oh, man, that's what they all say.
Ooh, I wonder if that guy ever gets that you're talking about him.
Who's that? Oh, Morrison?
Yeah. Why would you, blah.
'Cause
I've
I've said in
just
front
knows
of him.
everything out there. That's kind of how his matches are, man. Very disorganized. In the end, you're not sure if he hit his punchline. Or
One
not.
time I started with the finish. It was crazy.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
who did that?
I don't do. Probably Xavier. I don't know.
No, I think it was Brandon wanted to do that with someone.
Didn't know that was a possibility.
I did. I think he pitched it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, because Triple H and Orton made it work so well at WrestleMania.
The 25.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Because everybody ate that up.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, yeah, starting with the finish. That is what they did.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And
That's
then the
good
match was just, shit from there.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that are watching, it would be awesome if someone would call in with a subject, because I think I have a subject. One, Mr. Butterscotch Stallion helped me get it. You know what? I need to put the call in to that man. Let's see if we can get the Butterscotch Stallion on here.
Oh, is this a continuation from the other day?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
From Sunday? He said something about making it the subject. Do you want me to put you back on hold, Donnie Brooks?
No, I'm content just listening. Go ahead.
Okay.
You guys do you.
That's right, Donnie Brooks.
Well, talk, Jordan.
Okay,
There's a
I
camera
wasn't
there.
sure.
You love the camera. Do your
I
thing
do
while
love
I'm
the
trying to get a
camera.
hold of Mark
Here's
Wilson.
something I needed to talk about. You see, the real reason I'm in such a good mood, not only because I'm here with Mr. Johnny Z, but also because this weekend I return to the ring at IZW's Violent Valentine,
You
brother.
do realize this is a shoot show, Daddy.
I know. I'm
There's
still
no
really
reason-
excited.
There's no reason to promote yourself.
I'm not promoting
Look
myself.
at
I'm
this.
really,
It's gonna ring, I think.
I'm legitimately excited. I haven't.
There, boom.
Who's
What just happened? And I think someone called in.
who is that?
Maybe.
I don't
Oh
know.
no, that's who I
You guys
called.
calling?
What?
You guys calling somebody?
I am.
Yeah.
We'll see if
yeah,
he'll
we're getting
answer.
somebody on.
He won't recognize the number. The world is calling Mark Wilson.
The world is always calling Mark Wilson.
This is Mark. Leave your name and number at the sound of the tone, and I'll get back to you.
Good morning, Mark Wilson, a.k.a. the Butterscotch Stallion. We had an appointment that you forgot about. But later, you won't forget our retribution. Hang up the phone. You've really got to hang up your phone. Hey, this is a shoot show, man. What are you
Man,
doing?
Yes, it was great. So in a second, we'll try him again. Maybe if he gets that, he'll call us back. I don't know.
I just texted him and told him to call in.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm on top of things.
I love you.
You say you're a soccer fan?
And we get people that listen, and some of them do it live, some of them download the show. We can see the stats, people. So, I mean, it's not thousands, but there's a few hundred downloads of the show.
Yeah.
Each week, pretty much, on Blog Talk Radio.
I've been told that Two Fists are exclusively rats of mine.
Okay. Well, that's cool. And I thank you for the rats.
Uh-huh. Don't mention it.
But not as many on the YouTube. We got to do some of that. We got to come up with some interesting video. You know, Wesley, you've got the phone number up here, and you know, people, you can call in. You can voice your opinion. We won't shut you down. We're not assholes. You might think we are, but we're not. So you can call that number. Now, Wesley, what I want you to do is every once in a while you can bring the number back. But we need some interesting shit behind us. I mean,
I'm all for
obviously
that.
people don't like the targets. I mean, let's come up with something cool. Let's show them what we're capable of.
As
here
interesting
on
as
the
what is
Shootin'
here
Range.
before. That's what is here before you.
Yeah.
And also, you should watch the YouTube show because I have an excellent robe on right now.
He does. Whoa. Yes.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
interesting. Huh.
Watch it.
Which way do I need to go? Which way do I need to go? Do I need to go this?
There you
Oh.
go, there you go.
Oh, see that? Oh, man. Whoa. Can you
What
bring that
video
up,
game is she
Wesley?
playing?
If you bring it up here. Oh, see?
Is
I
that
can
the
put my
original
hand
Contra?
under it. Oh, wow.
Whoa,
Right
hey,
there.
whoa.
Whoa.
I'm watching her play Contra, and you're doing crazy stuff.
Ooh, What?
Hmm?
Contra.
Yeah, man. Isn't that what she's playing?
No.
It looks
No,
like Contra.
and I'm not watching what she's playing. Trust me. For the male audience out there, I'm telling you, if I wanted, I could have Wesley put that right over my shoulder. He can do whatever he wants. He is amazing with the things he can do.
Well,
Now-
yeah, where you headed?
Um,
What's our first subject?
we did our whole thing about commitment last week, right?
Okay. Give me a summary of what you talked about.
Man, that thing is amazing.
The
Seriously.
ski cap.
So you didn't watch the show?
I heard part of it, but I was with my mama, man. I can't be. I can't. I just
Again, I was just pointing out that people do download the show a few hundred per week, or listen to it, whatever it is. So here's the thing, man. You know, we can come up with subjects every week. I get it, and I guess we can talk about some of the indie stuff, the WWE stuff, because, I mean, it's obviously everybody right now is interested in WWE screwing Daniel Bryan. I love it, man. You know, they had me. They did.
In what way?
I was hot, man, last
Oh,
night.
yeah,
You
we-
know that. I was like, they can't even put the dude in the Royal Rumble.
I was watching the Grammys.
You know, I don't care what anyone
No.
says, man. I think that
Not really.
they're working the people.
It's
I do.
possible.
I think sometimes we give WWE too much credit, and sometimes we don't give them enough. Because, I mean, they're not dumb. You know, they've got to see that there's a payoff with Daniel Bryan. Now, I said it earlier in a post on the Kayfabe page. I still don't believe Daniel Bryan is the future of the WWE or guys like him.
Okay.
I do believe that they all sometimes can get over like this for an extended period of time, for a good period of time, and get a really nice payoff. But I think sometimes they want to try to build to the biggest payoff they can because they know there's only so many of them. There's only that one big one, maybe a couple. Because I still believe that it's just a fad, and it's a passing thing. And oh wow, yeah, that is awesome.
You should hear the
That
song.
is great. I see that caught my attention.
that's great.
People tune in. We're always doing crazy.
He does this in random places. Like that's a shoot.
Look at that. It's playing in my jacket. See that? I'm like, that's because my jacket's green, people.
And I've got a
I
robe.
I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna. Look at that. No more.
No, we
No,
can't hear
no.
it at all. Wesley.
And that's cool. We don't need to. Huh?
YouTube can great because it's a good song.
Can
That's
it?
why
Really?
that's why you guys should watch the YouTube show.
Well,
as
maybe
well.
you should turn it down because we can't. I've got YouTube turned down here. Hold on. Somebody has called in. It's still a good song.
Wesley, you're my careless whisper.
Yes, but if we can't hear it, then they don't need to hear it.
Who is it that we?
I
think
could
called
hear
in?
it if I. Hello, who do we have here? Hello? And they hung up.
Those joiks.
Here we go with the prank callers.
That'd be great.
So my thing, I think I can make us hear this video. Watch this. Watch this. You ready?
I don't know if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, check out the.
But see, then I can hear us. I don't remember why I can't hear the music itself. Uh-oh. Look at this. Butterscotch. Butterscotch.
Hey, play that George Michael song real
Are
quick.
you there,
What?
Mike? Whoa, buddy. You are very loud. Bring it down a notch. What are you doing, sir?
Are you talking to me?
I am talking to you.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking to
Hey, what is this deal? What is this deal that Donnie just sent me? This like took over my phone now. Am I too loud? Because I'm just talking on the speakerphone.
No, you're not too loud, man. You're clear. You're cool. I'm surprised you're on a speakerphone.
Do you know where you are right now, Mark Wilson?
Do I know where I am?
Yeah. On the phone with us? Do you know where you are?
Yeah, I'm sitting here in my room watching the Battle of Cleveland, man.
Yeah, okay, but do you
The
know?
greatest match on the all ever.
So by that you mean that you know you're on our show, The Shootin' Range. How are you, Mark Wilson, my main manager?
Fantastic, Daddy. How are you?
Doing all right, man. We're
One
just
of-
trying to get stuff figured out.
One of the reasons we called you, I'm trying to figure the heater out.
Yes,
It's
cold.
cold, man. We need to unplug that and plug it back in. I can tell you that. Something went down. I think you did something to
Rock,
it.
paper, scissors. Okay, I'll do it.
You had a subject, Mr. Wilson. We were talking Sunday, and man, why is the video gone? Because people, you can call that number 347-843-4859 and get your say right here live on this shooting range, and then a few hundred people can download it every week, and you can go from there. You know what I'm saying? So, whoa, man. I don't know what just happened on that screen, but I am all right with what just went behind us. Oh, okay. See, there's that whole delay always catching me. So, thank you for trying to make up for Jermaine Johnson's absence, Mr. Wilson. I heard that. Now, if you would, what was that subject? And what did you say to make? You said talk about it on the shooting range, and I forgot.
Well, you forgot what it was?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember
You
what we were.
forgot what it was.
I remember what
You
we were
preached
talking
for
about.
20 minutes. You preached for 20 minutes on it. You forgot what it was about.
No, I remember what we were talking about. I just forgot exactly. You were like, "We'll talk about it on the shooting range tomorrow." You got your subject, and I didn't really. You didn't give me a title. I know what we were talking about, but what exactly?
Basically, I just don't think the WWE wants to let anybody run loose.
No, that's not. You said
that's
so.
what it is.
Your argument was you don't think they want a guy as big as Austin or Rock again. Is basically what your argument was, because you said they don't want a guy that is so big and so powerful due to his star power that he feels like he can run off and hurt the company.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And I said your argument was absurd. Okay. Wow.
We're not laughing at you.
did.
We're not laughing at you.
Okay, who do we have here on the shooting range? Hello, this is the shooting range.
Okay, so we're just talking to ourselves then, right?
No,
No.
someone just called in here. Hello.
Hold on, Mark.
Hello. And you've hung up again.
Mark, because I'm trying to participate here too. Define
Hold on.
run in a
Okay,
second.
no, what he
define run
means
loose.
is he doesn't think that they want a guy that gets as big as Austin or Rock or Lesnar or someone. He doesn't feel like they want a guy that can give himself some leverage. You need to make that screen full size, Wesley. It can be seen. Well, you already got rid of it. Either way, it was showing the taskbar. That's amateur, man. You got to bring it completely full screen. You know how we roll, Daddy.
Hey, keep going. What you were saying?
Or play them in VLC and just
yeah.
full screen them.
Are you going to let me talk?
No, sorry,
okay,
Mark.
I'm
We're,
sorry, Mark.
Technical stuff.
Go ahead and talk.
Run loose.
Okay. The way they just throw the world titles around like they're, pieces of candy now, they don't want anybody to. They'll get one of these guys like Swagger, and I'll kind of halfway get interested. And it's like, nah, this ain't working. They'll jerk it away. It's like, well, damn it, I was kind of getting interested. Then they'll get the Miz going, and then they'll take that guy away. They did the same thing with like Edge. I thought he was going to have a longer run as world champion, and he didn't. That kind of worked out, I guess. But anyway.
Well, now one.
So whatever.
Well, Steve Austin always preached that having the title's not where it's at. The chase is where it's at, Daddy. It's kind of, I was going to say this one. I was one that was somewhat upset last night with what went down at the Rumble. It actually made me
But
question.
I told you, didn't I? I told you, didn't I?
Can you let me finish?
Yes.
I can mute you with the press of a button. Just let me finish, and then I'll let you finish.
Okay, finish.
So I was a little upset.
Yeah.
And, I found myself pulled into this thing emotionally, which is what I preach in my locker room every week, emotional connection. A few months ago, I could have gave two craps whether or not Daniel Bryan got his shot. And again, as I said tonight, I still don't think he's the future. But I am invested now in him getting his shot. I am invested now.
Yeah.
I've seen the people get behind him, and now I'm one of them that I'm like, okay, let's at least, give this guy a shot. And then it was funny because I was reading a dirt site today, since we want to shoot here at the Shootin Range live every Monday night. What was I just saying?
Emotional
You were
connection.
talking about Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, how you were emotionally
I know.
invested in it now.
And how I want to see him get his opportunity. It made me question my purchase of my WrestleMania 30 tickets. And I was like, this card's just starting to look horrible. Well, then I turn around and I read this post on a dirt site today. That's what I was saying we're shooting about. And I learned or relearned or was reminded not to become a gosh damn fan. But that means they're doing a good job because they did make me become a fan again. Because if I'd slowed down and just chilled, and it's crazy because it's not just working on me. I mean, you got guys like Mick Foley talking about throwing bricks through their TV. And
But
here's
that
the
could
deal.
be, that could be part of the work.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Everybody's so upset, and they're like, well, Bryan didn't get his shot at the Rumble. Well, here's one of the deals, people. I want to let you know a little secret. WrestleMania is sold out. Okay? And guess what? Everyone knows Daniel Bryan's not getting a title shot at WrestleMania.
I'm only on the pre-show.
At least that's the way. At least that's the way it seems. So there's your big reveal. Obviously, Daniel Bryan's opportunity or shot isn't important enough to keep 70,000 people from buying tickets to WrestleMania because it's sold out. So that being said, what they are doing, and even if he does get his shot, they're fine. But what they're doing is they are working just like we would. They understand that the people want this guy to be there and to get his opportunity. But why give it to him now when they don't have to? Their ratings just have gone up the past couple weeks.
Okay.
They sold out the arena last night. WrestleMania is already sold out.
Mm-hmm.
People will come to the Elimination Chamber because Bryan will either be in the chamber after tonight, after this little six-man match that made open the show,
saw that.
or he'll end up with some opportunity to wrestle Batista. Or if he gets none of that and he just ends up screwed off into some match with Sheamus, I hate to tell everyone this, but they'll still have a sold-out arena, and they'll still have the possibility of getting 1 million buys. They're probably more realistically looking at and hell, I take that away. No buys. It's the WWE Network launch. And no offense,
yeah.
but that's going to be huge because of all the content. I mean, we were talking about the amount of money they can make on that the other day. Don't tell me that 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people aren't going to be signed up for that network pretty quick at $10 a pop. So you're talking $20 to $30 million a month in revenue right there, people. And WrestleMania is already sold out, and everyone's like, WWE stupid. WWE doesn't know what they're doing. I did it. Mick Foley's ranting like an idiot on Twitter against it, and other stars are coming out and doing it. And we're dumb. I'll shoot on myself. I mean, they're $1 billion company for a reason, people. Daniel Bryan will get his opportunity.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan will get his match. It's funny. He came out tonight to open the show, and he was more over or just as over as he's always been. The arena was crazy last night. Wherever they go next week, it'll be the same thing. As long as they keep teasing him and keeping him with the right people and getting him close enough, the people are going to stay behind him. They've been behind him without him getting the push already, so they know what they're doing. When it's time, they'll finish off the story. He'll get his big pop. He'll win the championship, and he will have taken over the world. And then, as Steve Austin will say, within 3 to 6 months, you need to have him drop it again and send him on the chase all over again if he's your guy. Because the money's in the chase, not in the moment. You get one moment, and that's a nice payday. But what about all the money you got to make getting there? You know what I mean? They're selling the shit out of this dude's merchandise at this point. They're the people, every time they screw him, the people get more and more behind him. I believe that's what we teach as a philosophy.
Well, just so I don't start becoming like Jermaine Johnson and just never, contributing to anything ever. Just kidding. Yeah, no, I agree. The money is in the chase. It's more. I mean, the moment is extremely important. The moment is what the people want, but the chase is what keeps them there the entire time. The moment doesn't last for 6 months.
Yeah, they don't. There's no reason for the moment if the chase isn't done right, because they could have already gave the people their moment, and then where would we be now? Because eventually it gets boring rooting for the champ, always with everyone.
And the moment doesn't mean anything without the build up.
So.
It has to elevate.
I don't think they're as controlling as Mr. Wilson does. I think they're controlling with people that they believe need to be controlled.
Is he gone? Yeah.
No, he's here.
Okay.
You there, Mark?
Go ahead.
I'm there.
Okay, good.
I believe that they have not found their guy yet. This is what I said to Mark. We had this discussion, and I stand by it. I think that any business owner would be an idiot not to want a Steve Austin or a Rock or a Hogan or a Lesnar to drop into their lap. With every fiber of my being, I believe WWE wants the next John Cena, the next Brock Lesnar, Austin, Rock, because those types of guys make you money over fist again and again and again and again. And you ride that horse for...
What's that?
You ride that horse for... I was just going to say, you ride that horse for everything it's worth, and when it breaks down and it's gone, you move on, because no one's ever been bigger than the business. Even the biggest star of our era that I feel in Steve Austin, and then the other one in some people's eyes, Hulk Hogan, the two guys that basically revolutionized this business and changed it, they weren't bigger than the business. So I don't think WWE for one instant is worried about some guy coming along and being bigger than them. They want that guy because he may be hard to control, but he's money. And anyone that can start selling out those arenas to where they're doing not 15,000 for pay-per-views, but 15,000 every Monday night. And then 20,000 for every pay-per-view, and then obviously WrestleMania continues to sell out. Hopefully they get more sales for the WWE Network. Man, that's what they want, and they don't care. They don't think about when's he going to run off. I'm a promoter. I know this. If the dude drops in my lap that can start putting 250 people in my arena every week and then sell us out about 350 to 400 for every pay-per-view, man, I'm going to have to deal with that dude with a whole set of different rules than I do anyone else in my locker room. And guess what? When those people start getting that little bit of extra money because this dude's putting 250 out there every week and 400 at every pay-per-view, they're not going to bitch so much that he's getting treated with a little different set of rules. Everyone's going to put up with it as long as there's extra money going in everyone's pocket. And then when that horse ain't there to ride anymore, everyone will drop him like they have every horse before him, and business will go back to usual. That's just how it works.
Let me just answer my question then.
Oh, would I deal with it? Is that what you were going to ask me?
Yeah. Would you?
Hell yeah, man.
Same thing if it doesn't happen yet.
Dude, money's the deciding factor. How can if we average 100 people a week right now, or a little more through some seasons, and then, over a couple hundred for the pay-per-views, if some dude could be on my show that could more than double those numbers at all times just by being there, and then all I got to do is keep having him in the chase and giving him the moment every once in a while to win, and I get 3 or 4 or 5 years out of that, I don't think there's anybody in this locker room that would complain. the first thing everyone would do is open up their hand and say, okay, let's talk business. They'd give me about 6 months of that to go ahead and get my thing straight, and they'd be like, okay, he's been raking it in for about 6 months. He should be doing a lot better than he was. And then next thing you know, everybody would be like, okay, let's see where I'm at on the pecking order. What can I get? What can I get? And everybody will want to do business with that dude. Nobody wants to see that horse go anywhere, because that's what I can relate it to my level that easy, from 100 to 250 every week. Man, you think about the numbers. From somewhere between 200 and 250 for every pay-per-view to 400 to 450 for every pay-per-view. Reserves doubling. I mean, you do the numbers. Merchandise going up. Some guy selling 20 shirts a week or 30 shirts a week on his own. People buying DVDs because numbers I mean, that alone, 250 people in here every week, 400 at every pay-per-view, it would change everything. The door would be twice as big. Concessions would pull in twice as much. Merchandise would sell much better. There'd be a buzz and excitement because it's a whole different thing. There wouldn't be 250 people here every week or 400 people at every pay-per-view if there wasn't a buzz or an excitement. And guess what? When you know it's this guy that's doing it, you have to put some different gloves on, and you have to be real careful with that dude, and you have to massage his ego and kiss his ass and work with him. And if he starts to bitch up a little bit, hey, man, come on, dude, blah, blah, you're the greatest. I love you. We need you, man. It's called business.
Well, and I think, honestly, I think that anybody with a certain level of talent, I think Mark could probably agree, is they're not going to be 100% agreeable at all times.
No.
Because they're going to have a strong mindset. I think, I think if you don't have a strong mindset and something to say for yourself, and this was something else I wanted to bring up, the idea of drinking your own Kool-Aid. That if you don't drink your own Kool-Aid, then why is anybody else going to drink your Kool-Aid?
Yeah, I preach that.
Yeah, and I understand that. And that, to me, I just don't think, you're not going to be an extremely easy cakewalk to work with if you've got something really to offer the people. If you understand your talents and what you can do, you may not, you know what I mean? You may have some things to say about yourself.
You can't be like that until you have earned that right.
Yeah.
And I mean, because there are guys that walk in, before Steve Austin was Steve Austin, if you will, he couldn't have the same attitude. Once he was selling out 20,000 a week and drawing bigger pay-per-view buy rates than anyone. Before he was doing any of that, he tried a little bit of the attitude. And I mean, he knew just how far to push it. I mean, he's talked about his own story, so have other people. He never got himself fired per se. His only time being fired really was over injury. They wasn't like it bothered them to fire him, and that's because he did have a bit of an attitude at times and felt like things should be a certain way because he drank his own Kool-Aid. I love, and everyone's like, well, we're not all Austin. Well, I get that, man, but there's other guys. There's Taker, there's Rock, there's Lesnar, there's Hogan, there's Michaels, there's Nash, there's Hall, there's Steiner. I mean,
Rick.
Rick, I don't know, maybe. But there's several guys, just depending on what the pecking order is and where you're at in there, everyone's going to get a little more leeway. But you have to first prove that you can make money. Now, and that's all I'm saying is the guy that everyone just knows, hey, if I do business with him, I'm fixing to be made. I'm finna make a lot of money. That guy gets treated a certain way. Then there's the people right below him. And it's like, okay, well, we know that these guys are basically 1B, the Rock to Austin, if you will. Maybe Foley for a very short period during that era. He got a lot of popularity. So, I mean, it was just kind of, you knew if you threw either one of those two guys in there per se. I really don't know if Taker ever got up there at that period. But there'd be a couple guys, 1Bs that you could throw in there with him that could, you knew they were going to make money if you put them up there. Then you had the guys right below that, the Triple H's, and then that's maybe where I put Taker and some other people that they were just, man, they were right there on the brink, but they were like twos, But, I mean, they still had some leeway. They still were able to kind of.
Yeah.
Are you agreeing or
Yeah.
you being funny?
Oh, no, I'm agreeing.
Do what?
Did you kind of half-ass throw in that first group?
on the first group. What do you mean?
In the draw, the guys that drew, you said Flair. Didn't you say Flair? And you're kind of like, maybe.
I didn't say Flair right now. I was just talking about how kind of pecking orders within the company kind of decide how much.
You're talking about just in WWE. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying I was kind of speaking about that era. It's even like it doesn't happen much on indies because, I mean, let's just be honest, there's not a lot of top draw guys on indies. There's not that guy that's been able to walk in and all of a sudden your arena's, selling out 250 people every week. It's a combined group effort on the indie level more. So you might have guys on your show that you feel like, hey, the crowd is more invested in these guys than other people on the roster, or these guys are doing a better job of telling the story, and the fans that we do have and the spikes that we get every once in a while, you feel like it's due to those particular guys, and there'll be 2 or 3 of them that you feel like really get that job done for your company. But on the whole, with an indie company, even with us, it on the whole, it's more of a full team effort of the roster, the management booking it right, and the promoter promoting it right. All 3 things have to be hitting right. I feel like within the indie scene, for a show to kind of hit a peak and start thriving and doing really well, and it has to have really good stories, and just it takes effort because
and it has to be
they're having trouble finding those guys in WWE, so what makes you think they're just going to be flying around down here?
Well, I mean, it has to be a group effort like you're saying, and not just a room full of like 1 dude and 2 dudes over here and just everywhere like that. You can't just be doing guys coming in having one-shots. Every single show you got 5 guys who've never wrestled there, and the next show you have 6 guys who've never wrestled there. That's not necessarily a group effort of any kind. That's not an entire locker room when this random dude who's never been here before going to come in, come out. Might get a win for no reason, things like that. That's not a group setting. It's not a team setting. It's not golf or tennis.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to make the point that that's probably one of the bigger differences. And I take it back. Right now, where WWE is at, it's not as big a difference as you think because they don't have that singular guy right now that just makes the tickets go up and the merchandise go up, because John Cena doesn't do it anymore. He still sells the most merchandise because kids love him, but no longer does John Cena being there just spike the numbers back up. And it did at one period, and that's how he became the guy. But those days are over. It is more of a team effort at the WWE level now than it ever has been. It really is.
There's still nobody else working harder than Cena in the company.
The speakerphone is making you kind of hard to understand now.
Yeah, Mark.
I'm trying to charge it up, and it's like an arm's away from me. It still is the hardest working guy in the company.
Oh, for
Cena?
sure,
Okay.
but it's not about. I mean, it is about how hard you work. I mean, Cena shows that because he's still their top guy.
I'm talking about all that other shit. I see it goes the little kid things and all that.
Well, and that's what I just said. The kids still love him, and all I said was he doesn't spike the numbers like he did. I see Monday Night Raw, and most weeks, man, that top run is blacked off, if not more. Not every pay-per-view is just right on selling out,
It's full tonight. They're showing it right now. It's full tonight. You can see it tonight.
Well, man, it's WrestleMania season. Last week and the week before that and the week before that, it wasn't, That's all I'm pointing out, man. When you have that guy, it'll be, like I said, it's just kind of a pointless argument, I think, sometimes. But the difference is, when Steve Austin was the guy, they were doing 20,000 every Monday night. So that's the type of guy that they'll go ahead and let the reins off of. Daniel Bryan's cool. Everybody's chanting yes, but they're not doing 20,000 every Monday night because of Daniel Bryan. And they're not doing bigger.
I'm not completely sold on that either.
But that's all and that's all I'm saying, though. They don't have a guy doing that yet. Guess what? If they were doing that because of Daniel Bryan, they'd be treating that dude even more different than they are now. He'd just be a way bigger focal point. he'd be getting more opportunities than just the one they're building to. And that's the point. He doesn't spike the numbers, so they're not trying to give him a bunch of moments. They're just trying to give him the one big payoff because it's not going to necessarily make them money per se. And I think that's what people have trouble admitting. So that's just both sides of my argument. Is all I'm saying is when that guy actually shows up that is putting 20,000 in there every Monday night, you'll see a different set of rules with him. You'll see them take the reins off a little bit, and you'll see shit happen that you're like, man, I'm surprised they let that go down. And you'll be like, oh, well, there's 20,000 there. So,
You know who will be? It's going to be Jermaine and me.
Jermaine and
We're going to
you.
do it.
Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, sure is
Hey,
going to be
man.
Jermaine
Yeah.
and you. Thanks for,
Why not, man?
Yeah.
They're not going to take
Yeah.
it from me. I mean,
wanna get
I
on
think
the
if it was on
line.
talent alone, I could get there. But I don't have the motivation to hit the gym and get cut and look good and do that. So plus, I'm about to be 37. So there's several reasons I probably couldn't get there. Do I think I have the understanding of the business and the ability to tell a story in the ring that could relate to a WWE ring? I do think I could do that.
dude, I'm only
Dude.
16. I've got the prime. The prime is still to come. Don't
Do
tell me
I
that
think
I
I
can't
could
do it.
physically get where I need to be and put in the hours and the commitment to get there? Probably not. And that's what they need. And that's a guy like Jermaine Johnson that puts in that commitment and that time and trains and gets in shape and does have the ring understanding as well, the athletic ability and all those things to give the WWE the style of matches they want and tell the story. And he'd be asset to any company. And so I think he'll be just fine with whatever he does.
Yep.
You know, there's only a few people that go to the WWE. People can get mad when they hear it, but Jermaine Johnson is like one of the few guys that I just think if he actually gets out there and continues to get himself seen by the WWE, it's almost surefire that he will, at worst, get a developmental deal at some time.
Should be a matter of time, and if it's not, it's a shame.
Yeah, if it's not, I've always said it'll simply be about luck. Now,
That's the
other
whole
than that, we suck.
I got to go here in a minute.
What?
I got to go here in a minute.
Why?
I've got a little texting action going on.
Well, when you get off, you let Mr. Burnham, our fact man, know that he needs to call in. Huh?
Okay, you want me to let Burnham know? Okay, I thought you were hinting if that's who I was texting with.
No, we need our fact of the week from our fact man, Chris Burnham.
All right, I'll tell him to call you.
All right.
All right, man. Don't risk it for the biscuit.
Woo! Why you have to go there, man?
I don't really know what that means.
You know what, man? You can tell it's WrestleMania season. The views are down tonight. Whoa! What in the world?
I
whoa!
really
Whoa!
don't
Take
know.
that up higher. I want to see what's going on.
He's
there.
riding
Woo!
Oh, it's a woman. I legit thought that was a dog.
Oh man,
That's
whoa,
awful,
whoa,
man.
Whoa, what's going down?
She can.
Get
Oh
out of
man.
the way.
Oh jeez. She cannot be part of my rap brigade. She ain't big enough.
Whoa, man.
Oh.
You're a horrible
Apparently
person.
it turned into a brigade when I was talking, which is cool. I will take on
Oh,
a
my
brigade.
God.
Oh man. All right. Speaking of rats.
Did you fart?
No, not at all, man. Look at my robe. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. If we'll just transition to we don't have any other callers at the moment. Here's a question I was wondering about. It's not something because of the athletic commission that we have in our state that is handled very well. But in other states, it's something that's very commonplace on
What
indie
is that?
shows.
They license rats?
No.
In other
Why
states,
they don't need
Megan?
licenses?
Oh,
I
man, they
license
should.
rats.
They can make them get blood tests. And,
Those are
they can
important
come
for
with a
rats.
license, like they're a licensed rat.
Well,
Yeah,
I
they've-
would check. I
They've
would see
taken
that.
care of themselves.
My question
So-
is, what do you think about happening often on shows?
Uh-oh.
Men versus women.
Well, before we get into that, let's get to our fact man. You there, fact man?
Hello. Yes. Yes,
Hey.
I am here.
You're
Oh,
either
wow.
on the cell phone or you got a new home phone that doesn't suck.
I'm on the cell phone. Cell phone is charged up, and I am ready to talk.
He must have trimmed
And
the
hey, I
beard.
called in when the rats were being discussed, so obviously it's a topic for me. Oh wait, no, it's not.
Wait, what did he say?
What did you say? Rats.
Oh,
He said
rats
when
being
rats
discussed.
Well, yes, of course that would be your subject, Burnham. They live in your beard. No. So, what do you got for us this week, boss man? What
Well, I got
interesting
something
facts?
pertaining.
What's that?
I said I got something pertaining to you.
To who?
Yes, to you, Mr. Z.
Oh, well
not-
then
to
this
not me.
week with the fact man, Chris Burnham, the man with the plan from Oklafan. He is here with this week's fact. Yeah, oklafan.com. We're putting it over on the Shootin Range.
I don't know what that is.
At the Shootin Range.
Oh, that I know what that
yeah,
is.
the
Yes.
Shootin Range.
Good job, Jordan.
Right here. That's why
That's
he ain't
why
no
you're the
Jermaine.
ice train of this tag team.
Whoa! Oh, you
So-
can have that. Take that one and run with it, dog.
Okay.
Well, John, as you know, you are still the Mid-South Heavyweight Champion.
I am.
And you have been, I have calculated today, you have been the Mid-South Champion for 461 days as of today.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. That makes you, as far as I can tell, the third longest singles champion reign in Oklahoma.
What is the
That was good timing.
what
Macaulay
what is the
Culkin.
second and the first?
The second longest singles title reign was held, and I'd have to actually bring up the page to tell exactly when it ran from. Hang on, give me a moment here. to
Well,
go
That's
and pull
why
this
that's
up.
why we know the fact man,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we can just get random facts like that.
It's,
But we're just
it's all
like
good. You do that, and I'm just going to make a sound. I'm not going to say a word. I'll just respond with the sound, Burnham.
All right. The second longest singles title reign lasted from December 13th of 2003 to July 29th of 2005, and that was the SRPW women's title reign for the initial women's champion, Leather.
What was her name?
Leather.
Leather.
I know leather.
Yep.
Now,
Okay.
how many days was that?
That was 594 days.
500 and what?
94?
594 days.
Goodness gracious.
Jesus.
Man.
But does it really count?
I didn't want to just say it. I mean,
I'm just fun. No, were they
Okay.
running? They were running bi-weekly at that time, Mr. Burnham.
Part of it was actually weekly. Part of that run
Okay.
was weekly, and then they switched over to bi-weekly.
I'll give
Okay,
it, I'll
see-
give it some credit.
We were talking about. Oh yeah, but it's. But how many times did they shut down during that period, and for what length?
They in the time period that she was champion, I don't believe they actually ever shut down.
Boom.
They had they might have had 1 month off because they were at Mickey's Bowling Alley, which is here in Tulsa, and then they switched over to wherever they ran in Sapulpa. I think there was like a 1 month period where they didn't run a show,
Did you say a bowling
and then they
alley,
started
though?
up with the bye week. It was a bowling alley.
It
Yes.
was a bowling
Interesting.
alley. They had an OPW ran in a bowling alley as well too.
Yes.
Oriole Pro
Yes, they did.
Wrestling.
Oriole? No,
I don't know.
It was
about OPW.
Oklahoma Pro Wrestling.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
okay.
That's such. I mean, that's just such a clever name.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
But it is. Yeah, it works, man.
Hey,
And here's
man.
the deal: we had to discuss. We're doing facts. So first off, OPW was your first introduction to indie wrestling, correct, Mr. Burnham?
Yes.
So it holds a special place in your heart.
Yes.
Okay. What is the longest title reign? Singles title reign.
The longest documented singles title reign in Oklahoma lasted from August 14th of 2010 to May 19th of 2012, and that was the Compound Oklahoma X Division Championship reign for 7.
Miguel, really, man. The king of the rats is the king of the reigns.
Hey, whoa.
He is the king of the rats. You might be running a close second with him. You're both scum. And so, Okay.
I'm deeming myself Splinter from this.
here's the
forward
thing,
move.
Burnham. Since you're a fact man, do you like your facts to be accurate?
I like to try to keep them as accurate as possible, yes.
Okay, so you know that a certain gentleman and I Well, he hates me. I don't know why. I don't necessarily hate him. No names here. We're not going to take it to that level.
Okay.
One, because the name's not worthy of being spoken on the Shootin' Range, and two, because it's not worth it. Now, what I do want to get into is Justin Lee made the post on Oklafan.com there on Facebook, and I believe he was speaking about names. And since we were having, because I put over some stats about MWA on the kayfabe page when we were talking about some of their stats and running shows, right?
I worked there once.
Burnham.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously while I was there, I was like, I'm going to start looking at stats because Justin Lee, just like a certain other individual has claimed and some other people have claimed, made the claim that OPW ran for 3 years straight running weekly shows and selling out every week. So I was like, wow. One, I've heard several people say that
Selling
they
out
had
every
good
week.
crowds, but they weren't selling out every week. But that's not even what I wanted to check because no video. I've never seen video, so I don't really know. I can't check that. But what I could check was the results to see if they actually ran a weekly show for 3 years straight. And to my amazement, in their 3-year run as OPW, they only ran 80 shows.
Wait a minute.
Where are you getting those results from?
From your site.
Okay,
Now,
then you should know, before you go any further with that, you should know that my site does not contain all the OPW results because I do not have them. I did not start attending until July 4th of 1999, and I do not actually have in my own documentation results of a linear nature prior to 2000. So don't judge on the numbers that you have there for certain because what my site shows is not 100% of what they did.
okay. But still, during the period that you have, there are several
Yes.
weeks results missing.
There's anything prior to 2000 is hit and miss, but everything from 2000, from the beginning of 2000 through the end of their run in 2001, is 100% accurate as far as I'm aware, because I was at every single show that they did.
Right.
And the only time that they did not run weekly was in the summers. Every summer, they would switch over to bi-weekly from June through September. They would run every other week. So.
Okay, but that wouldn't be weekly for 3 straight years. I am going to point that out without trying to just come across as a dickhead. But if every summer you're going to a bi-weekly format, that doesn't constitute to weekly. But let me go check this out because I want to see. Because then there was TPW after that, right? I mean, we should know
It
our
was
history.
It was OCW after that. That was John Crow's deal.
Well, what was TPW?
That was after OCW. That was when
So
when
you
OCW shut down.
You said everything after 2000 was pretty accurate. Well, here in 2001, I'm seeing huge gaps. It looked like they went monthly at one point. I mean, it looks like from the middle of 2001 on, it's very sporadic on when they're doing it. It does look like it starts being bi-week because here we got, well, I'll just start with May 19th of 2001. It then jumps to June. It then jumps to June 2nd. It then jumps to June 23rd. It then jumps to July 14th. Then July 21st. Then August 11th. Then August 18th. Then September 8th. Then we go kind of weekly, September 15th, September 22nd. Then we jump to October 13th. Then we jump to October 20th, 27th. Then we jump to November 3rd. Then we jump to December 20th.
Okay.
Then we jump to December 23rd.
November 3rd. Okay, I can tell you what happened there. They are accurate. Those results are accurate. November What'd you say? November 3rd was the last that would seem to be in the normal line of things before a big jump.
Someone keeps, hold on, Burnham. I don't know who this is.
Okay.
But hello, this is the Shootin' Range. And they hang up again. I don't know who it is. They like calling. But yeah, it looks like 2001 has a lot of bi-weekly stuff. And I don't know, I guess 2000, I never sat there and looked at every week. I just kind of skimmed through it. So you might be right. The year 2000 here looks pretty weekly. But I guess I don't know. You and I have always had this discussion. I've always wondered what the infatuation is with people bringing up this little run back then, because I'm like, well, gosh darn it. It lasted from 98 to 01, which is right there with the Attitude Era, when wrestling's at, the peak of peaks that it's ever been at, when it was like MMA. You could just throw a banner up and say. So for a long time, I was just like, oh man, I can totally see how he ran every week and did great. And then I went and looked, and I saw that he didn't even manage to run every week during the most opportune time that you could ever run every week, during the heyday of that company. And then everyone's talked about it forever. And then I'm like, and then they just disappeared after that. Half the people in that. And it's just crazy. They don't get talked around here, but I see them pop up on the internet. And that's really what got me, is you'll be on a random page, and guys like that one guy, or Justin, or, Tommy D, or Boom Boom, or somebody from 15 years ago that hasn't really been involved with wrestling.
I wasn't even born yet.
Since wrestling's heyday, except just to drop in every once in a while and try to remind us all how great they were. You go back and you begin to look at some of these numbers that they claim, and the numbers don't start to add up.
Because they don't, man. Numbers don't lie.
So that's why I wanted to ask the fact man, Chris Burnham, what's up with the facts, because I think they need to stop laying claim to running weekly shows for 3 years straight, because I don't think it happened.
I can validate that they did not run every week for the time that I was there, from July 4th of 1999 until their last show at the end of 2001. Absolutely not. 2001 was a rough period. I can't remember the circumstances of why it seems like they're choppy the way that they are. I honestly do not remember why it wasn't evenly distributed out, but I can tell you for a fact that the reason there's a huge gap between November 3rd of 2001 and December of 2001 is because November 3rd was when new management came into River Lanes Bowling Alley, and they no longer wanted wrestling there. They wanted the room for something else. Rocco was lucky, and I think he would.
You said that name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't mention it on my show again. I'm just
Okay.
playing. You can talk about that dude. I'm for real, man. These dudes think I got all this heat. Rocco, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Have you met him?
Hell no.
You don't want to. Either way, I really am. I don't have a problem with him. It's legitimately about facts for me, and that I think some people don't believe that. But it's, hey, if you want to have an argument with me and you want to have a leg to stand on, and if your leg to stand on is going to be your stats of what you've done, then at least bring factual stats. And that's why I wanted to get the fact man involved, because when we talk about things, that's all I want. That's really all I want, is I want people to talk about facts. And if they'll talk about facts, I really don't think they'll hear me bitch as much. I mean,
I just, man.
Let's stop using opinions. Opinions don't matter. They're like assholes. We all have one, and they usually stink.
Man, I don't know. I'm not trying to shoot too much here, but I'm just.
What are you thinking about? Mr. Burnham is a very respectful dude, so whatever you
Burnham
say,
is,
think
I
about
know,
it
and
first.
I'm not trying to be a prick. I don't know. I don't jump on the Facebook things too much, because there's everybody's.
That's really what gets me.
I don't get why some people think they need to say certain things. I really, really don't. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for really choosing a moment, and
Dude,
not
I
just
didn't have a problem with Justin's post on. I thought I disagreed with some of what he said, and we spoke about that on the thread. When people are going to put up those long posts like that, I'm going to look at what they're saying, and then I want to go and check out what they're saying, and that's really where this is from. Like I've went back and looked at some of SRPW stats. I've went back and looked at some old Power Zone stats. Because everybody talks about how they were selling out 500 at the armories in Oklahoma City.
Ooh, Power Zone?
Isn't that what they were called back? Is that what they were called, Burnham, before they became Mid-South Wrestling?
In the early 90s, they were Power Zone Wrestling, and then they became New Mid-South, and then became Mid-South. I'm really shaky on Oklahoma City stuff prior to, 2006, because, again, I wasn't there. But from what I've been able to kind of cobble together, that's the progression from one name to the next.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Power Zone was your nickname in college, right?
No, I legitimately, that's really it, man. That was some facts that were thrown out at me is when the gentleman was telling me what all he knew about wrestling and what I didn't know about it. Those were just some of the things were thrown at me, was that that show had run for 3 years straight and sold out all the time and was just this phenomenal show. And so
it means what it means.
I want to know who I'm dealing with. And then I've invited him out, and that never happened. So that's where I'm like, wow, man. I mean, do you really want to live off some bogus stats we found out already from the Attitude Era? Or would you like to actually, jump back into the biz and put an effort out there? I guess that's really my thing. Don't jump on the threads and say anything unless you really want to come back and, give something to the biz.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
like really my
said,
biggest thing. When I'm done, I just want to be done.
Yeah.
Bro. I'm for real. I just want to go away. Why? You know what I mean?
Well, why, if you're not going to take the time to do all that.
Not the person we're talking about in particular, because y'all have a friendship, but just people in general, Burnham. Once their time with the business is done, do you feel that they should be
still have a voice?
Yeah.
When you say done, do you mean truly in any capacity whatsoever, or are we talking in-ring peoples who can't work anymore and go away because they're unhappy and then maybe want to come back and find some other slot to be in?
I mean,
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I don't know. It's like when Jericho takes his 3-year hiatuses. Do you think he should still have a voice?
Well,
do you think that he should be, if he's not willing to stay and be a part of the business and try to give something to the business, make the business better with his involvement, then why does anyone even want to hear what he's got to say? Why sit around and try to have any type of voice about the business if you're not even willing to try to help the business?
Well, I think he was still.
I
I still think he was contributing with his books and all the interviews that he does, because he does a lot of very interesting interviews and make Jericho.
Man,
but I would say that there's a difference between him taking time off and RVD taking time off. That dude's not contributing anything anymore. Jericho still has a voice in the business. His books have been some of the best ones written.
Dude, if you're not in a ring on a show putting asses in the seats, then you don't have a voice in the business. Or if you're not a part of the product in some way, booking, promoting, somehow making those shows happen, nobody gives a fuck about his books and his shit
maybe
except for his fans.
Maybe I give him too much credit, but I wouldn't think the same thing about a local indie guy. And so maybe it's that. I mean, an indie guy, that's different.
Dude, I wouldn't even think it about me. As big an ego as I have, I would think that the moment I'm not running IZW anymore, the moment I step away from the business in that aspect, dude, nobody's going to give a shit what I got to say.
Oh, dude, I mean,
let's get for real with it.
Well, I mean, there's no point in coming in and sniffing around being like, what are y'all talking about? Can I talk with you?
And that's what I'm saying. If I went and jumped on a thread or something,
yeah.
There might be a few of my friends that are like, oh, man, we know what Johnny can do. We'll listen to him. But everyone else is going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? Nicolas Cage is ridiculous. Am I wrong, Burnham, or is that normally how it goes when one of us,
I think that as far as local guys go, and my perception of local guys is that when they step away, usually they truly step away and they don't bother to follow anything, and they're gone so long that there are things that change. And then they come back, and their expectations frequently are, well, it's going to be just the same as it was when I left. I'm still going to be able to come back here, and my opinion is the rules and the expectations are still the same. And that's when I kind of look at what they post and listen to what they say, and in many instances it comes across as the bitter old man syndrome, and in some instances it can come across as something that I would want to listen to. It's kind of a conditional thing. If I'm more likely to listen to people like Rock, who showed back at Mid-South this Sunday, and I know he's been around Sooner because he works for Sooner. He pops up and he looks at the product, he looks at what's going on, and he has opinions about stuff, but I know he's watching. And I know
who
that
did you say now? Who is that?
Rock and Roll
He's
Cowboy.
talking about Michael Russell.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
Yeah, I know he's actually watching what's going on. He's looking at guys. Some of the guys he personally trained, other guys are young enough that they came in after he left, but he's watching the product, and I think that he sees that there should be some way to improve things, and he wants to make that happen.
Well, he did post something
in
earlier,
whatever
if
way
I'm
he
not
can contribute
mistaken,
for.
about that. That he was wondering if people genuinely, like once they were out, if they genuinely cared about watching indie guys and guys that were young when they were in.
Yeah.
And
Well,
everything.
you have to understand, that's been my argument. This whole attitude era has been my argument for a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys that run around this area, and it's not just the one guy I'm talking about. I'm glad he'll get his little ego stroke off of tonight, but this will be the end of that, because I brought this up just because I wanted to point out there are a lot of guys in this area, not just him. I could name probably 10 to 15 guys that are still in some way every once in a while pop up around this area and try to kind of reclaim a little bit of status that they had back during that time. That's kind of when they made their name. They came around in that 98 to 01 period and probably did the bulk of their wrestling career from that 98 to 03, 04 period, because wrestling was still a little hot from 01 to 04. And then they all just kind of started doing I'll quit for a year and a half, 2 years, and then come back for 3 months. And
I'll quit if you quit.
yeah, and what it is they've been working locker rooms forever, and guys in this area about how great they were back then, and no one calls them on the fact that, like, dude, man, anyone could have thrown up a banner that said wrestling and filled up a gym from 98 to 01. That's how it went. I've yet to go anywhere that I can't find a group of guys that'll talk about how they came into the business and they were doing 300 and 400 and working with these low-level names on shows and blah, 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 and how great it was. And then almost 9 times out of 10, you can say, well, when are we talking about that? And they'll say, man, late 90s, early 2000. All of them. Every town, every area you can go to. Legitimately, you'll find that group of guys, because guess what, guys? During that era, everything was blowing up. Wrestling was at its peak of peaks.
I wish I had been born
just needs to
already.
get that through their skull. The business does change. We've all talked about it. The business now is dealing with it. But he just talked about it. Burnham did it. It's in a period right now where it's trying to figure out what its existence is going to be over the next 20 to 30 years. You know, it had this huge boom, and then now, dude, I give credit to all the guys that have been involved over this last decade, and guys that have been involved over the last 5, 6, 7 years, doing it all the time. I kind of brought this up just to give a shout out to all of y'all. I do it every once in a while. The guys that have been involved in this past 5 or 6 years, even the ones I don't like, don't agree with, the 7 or 8, everything that you have done, that you have been committed to trying to help continue to grow the business through this period when it's not at its peak of peaks, when there is no big superstar out there that's making everybody love wrestling, when there's not that buzz and that excitement about the business the way there was during the Attitude Era, when everyone else was riding the coattails of that big train that was running over everyone, when wrestling was just at the heights the biggest heights it's ever been at. For all of you that have stuck through it and continue to try to help shape the industry towards a new future, you know, and keep it and get it back to thriving and keep it, what's the word?
Relevant?
Man, I guess because that is, you fight against becoming irrelevant.
Yeah.
So to all of you, from Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Lawton, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Kansas, anyone that may see this, California, New York, anywhere, whoa.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was some, what the fuck just happened? Did someone shoot at us?
No, it came from over there.
No, something sparked back here, man. I'm glad this place is made of concrete.
I don't know, Wesley, come on back
No,
while
the
we're
lights
talking.
are on. But thank you. That's all I wanted to say, because it's a lot of work. It really is. Getting out there and trying to make yourself a superstar on this level now and convince people to come out and pay money to see you and to buy in and put up with all the bullshit that people have to talk about indie wrestling and just in general, the shit that people have to talk. The fact that you've all persevered, especially a big thank you to a lot of the guys on my roster, just because it has been a weekly ordeal for going on 7 years straight now. What's that? 7 years straight
And
now.
I've been there for 9 of those 7.
And those are factual numbers.
Yes.
At least 6 years of those are starting in September of 2008 until September of 14 this year.
And if I may,
did take a 2-month break while moving from Oklahoma City to here.
If I may, I would like to say my
Was
thank
it
you to
2
those
months?
people.
It was 2 months.
I would like to say my thank you to those people as well. I know some people may still look at me as a youngin, and in a lot of ways I am. I've just been lucky enough to hang around, and that's not me kissing ass, but I mean I've gotten to hang around some very, very wise people.
Like Chris Burnham.
Yeah, man. Hey, the dude
You
probably
are wise,
the
Burnham.
dude probably
That's
thinks
not
I
being
hate him,
funny.
but I don't. I appreciate
Aaron Neal
getting to hear.
hates you, Chris Burnham. Something exploded.
I
back
just
there, dude.
I want to say my thank you to anybody who's ever given me any kind of advice, attention, anything like that. Anybody that never just overlooked me for whatever reason, and anybody who just put in their dues, did their thing before me. I respect that for sure, and I hope that I'm the same way with people that come in after me as well.
Yeah, I think, and that's what a lot of those old timers don't get. Don't think I'm calling you out for just coming. Well, actually, I am kind of calling you out for just coming during the Attitude Era. I want to give thanks to those guys that came after the Attitude Era, or either came during it and stayed after and continued to try to keep the business relevant. Because that's my deal, man. That's the people I don't like. The ones that had their little fun for 3 or 4 years of running, I don't know, however many shows they did. And that's bookers or talent, wrestlers, whoever, and then just kind of vanished. Those are the ones I don't like. I mean, if you put in some time, if you've been there and you've put in 8, 10 years, something like that, and you
didn't get chased off,
there's several of those
or run
guys
off.
out there.
Yeah, like with the
People hate him, but people listen to Brandon Bishop when he comes around. I'm for real. For all the people that hate him, they'll listen because the dude's been in the business for 12 years now. He's ran a company. I mean, but here's the thing. These are the facts of it. The longer he doesn't run a company per se, the less he's involved with the business, the less people listen to him. And that's just serious. And so, you have to stay involved with the business. Once, as Burnham said, if you're not around for a couple of years, people forget about you, and then things change while you're gone. And when you pop back up, they don't care. Is that pretty much what you were saying, Burnham?
That's pretty much what I say, and I saw it firsthand. I was amazed back in 2002 when the person who shall not be named was engaged in this big feud up in Tulsa, and he had a guy who he had feuded with way back at the beginning of his career come in as a surprise tag team partner for him, and when he turned, it was one of those lights out situations. Lights come back up, guy in the middle of the ring, ready to go. And I stood up and applauded and quickly realized I was the only person in the arena who had any clue who that guy was.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the people, no idea. And he'd been gone for 1 year, almost exactly 1 calendar year, and they'd already forgotten about him.
Well,
and that was when I learned a really powerful thing about how relevancy just goes away so quickly at the indie level when you don't have a name fed out there frequently to remind you about people.
Well, a lot of that, too, not being funny, but that has to do with how long were you there before you went away for that year? How many shows does that come in? Like, I'm just being for real and talking about IZW so people can kind of understand why we talk about it the way we do sometimes is, when a guy leaves here, let's say he's put in 2 years here before he takes that year off, or 3 years. Well, by that time, a guy's been in here, just 2, we'll say that. Well, he's already had the opportunity to be on 104 shows, okay? That's 104 times to be in front of the same crowd. And we use video and other things to really build people for the crowd. You've been here, Chris. And so by the time they leave, a lot of these guys, if they're one of our guys that are a main guy, like you're making this guy sound like, I don't know who it is who came in and did the lights out deal and was a tag partner, but you're making it sound like before he left, he had to have been a pretty main guy. I'm going to guess maybe it's Justin.
No, it's a guy named Jimmy Kane. I don't think you'd ever have heard of him down because I don't know that he ever traveled out of Northeast Oklahoma when he was in Oklahoma. He might have worked Oklahoma City,
but he was
not 100% certain.
He was basically
he was
a
a
main
top guy.
Okay.
Yes, he was a top guy.
Well, a top guy
He's
here
had the cage match.
Yeah, a top guy here is normally on every show. Jermaine, D, Aaron, one of those guys. Myself. Jordan's here pretty much, but we have our top guys, Damon, Kev, so we have some guys that are here every week. And my point is that by the time they left, they would have put in probably 95 shows at the least. And, so I feel like, because I've had guys leave and be gone a year here, and when they come back, people remember who they are. Because that's part of my deal. You have to actually be there for a while and have built an emotional connection with those people, because that says something. It's not just the indie level. I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but I'm just telling you, if he had done his job when he was there before, and if he had done it enough times, and then if they had been able to, if they had the same people over that year he was gone when he came back, then they would have remembered him. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get exactly
there's a lot
what
of
you're saying.
factors that go into that. He obviously didn't do his job well enough before he left. The promoter obviously didn't do his job well enough with him before he left, or after he left. He also didn't keep the same people. Obviously, there was a lot of turnover in his crowd if the people didn't remember him. Because there's been some people here. You're bringing up a subject I think about because we've had guys leave and come back. Hell, Michael Berry was gone for a long time. Brandon Bishop was gone for a year. Let me tell you this. Brandon Bishop was only here for a year, and then he was gone for a year, and when he came back, man, everybody knew who he was. It was right back to boom just like he's in there. So that's why when other people want to talk shit on Brandon or try to disregard him as a talent, I'm one of the first guys to come to Brandon Bishop's defense because he was here for a year, then he was gone for a year, and then the first night he walked out just out of nowhere, no build, no one knew anything about it, everyone in the crowd knew who he was immediately. He got his reaction, he got his entrance, then they were hanging on his every word on the mic because he knows how to make people remember him. He knows how to be a character. He is a worker, and people need to just go ahead and accept that and give the man his due. And that's really all I'm trying to say. I won't just put that on, hey, that's what happens on the indie levels as far as with the talent. Because I think if a talent has done his job the right way before he leaves, and if a promoter has done his job the right way before he leaves, then there will be an emotional connection, and when that guy comes back, there will be some sort of reaction to him coming back. If you've done your job in the time they're gone, too, because, you got to keep people, the same people, obviously, that saw him leave. You can't just have a complete turnover in your crowd and then expect them to remember him either. Man, there's just so many things we could talk about with the business, seriously. And I don't have a problem. Eventually on this show, past stuff in Oklahoma was going to have to come up. I could have just ignored it, but it's the Shootin Range, and it is my opinion. But see, it's my opinion laced with facts. So my asshole doesn't quite smell as bad as some other people's.
It's gross
because I've cleaned it with facts.
That's gross.
Can I throw a topic out there? And it's kind of late, and so we may not have complete time to talk about it here. But it's been bugging me over the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
And this is one I really kind of wish that Twitter was Bob here to contribute on, because I know he would have a lot to say, and I'd really like to hear what he says.
We can make it next week's
Shit
subject.
shows.
Shit shows.
Well, shit shows, but specifically, should a shit show, should a shit show draw consistently? And if it does, how do you get rid of them?
Well, first off, are you saying this because here's the thing. Again, this is what we talk about, and I said this a minute ago. So I want to make this the theme of the Shootin' Range: facts, and that's why we have the Fact Man. Is because when we talk, I don't want it to just be opinions. I would like it to be opinions based on facts. So before we get into this, what do you consider a draw? Over what time frame? I mean, here's my thing. I asked this question before we answer your question. What should our expectations be of a regular running independent Fed? Is monthly acceptable? Is 12 shows a year truly acceptable for us to look at a Fed and say, okay, that's a consistently running Fed? Does it need to at least be bi-weekly? It's obvious we're not going to get weekly anywhere. I'm the only one dumb enough to continue that shit, obviously. I mean, I think
I'm the only, well, man.
dude, I think
do
I'm
it
like
with
the
you.
only person in the country that's been doing it for the past 7 years. Is there anyone else,
Shit,
Mr.
man.
Fact Man, that's been running weekly for the past 6 years? The whole time, nonstop? In one location?
not that I
can't
can
think
of.
anything. I can't think of
No.
See, man, I find that pretty,
Oh,
that's-
dude.
we'll just leave it
And-
alone. It's cool.
yeah.
But so, is that's what I'm asking about,
the
expectations.
only one that had a weekly run was Compound, and they ran the start when you started your weekly. The week after they started their weekly, and they ran. But I don't think they even ran consistent weekly. I think they did the summer bi-weekly thing as well. But they ran from 2008. Was that when you started yours? I think that's right. 2008.
No, I started 07 in the city. July of 07 to July of 08, we ran every week in the city.
Okay, so they started. So there was July of 07 for them as well, or maybe the first week in August of 07. Anyway, it was like right after you, and they ran until I want to say 2010, about August of 2010. So they had a good run in there, but then again, like with OPW, they lost their.
It's so
facility
crazy, man. It's like
and never found another.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 years is the time span, and shit goes haywire for those companies, man. I'm not being funny. Think about it. I looked at TPW's deal the other day, and they had like a 3-year run from 03 to 06, and then they're done.
Yep.
So it's like 3.
And in that time frame, they had a lot of different places they went to. That's a totally different story as well.
SRPW had like a 3-year run, a solid run. It's like they all did little 3-year runs.
Yep.
So that's all my deal was expectations. It's I guess it's become acceptable for a show just to be a monthly show, and that's considered a consistently running show. And I guess it is consistent. It's consistent monthly. But I mean, okay.
That's a 12 show a year deal to a 52
I just feel like
show
half
year
a
deal.
year, 26
not even a
shows.
fourth.
I feel like someone did every other week. They'd be getting 26 shows, and that's just man. Crawford does it.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't do it very well.
It's been
but he
in
does
stretches. It's been in stretches.
It. Okay. All right. So shit shows. Now, before we decide whether or not we're going to make this the subject next week, is there a show you have in mind? I mean, is there a show you feel like that's because what do you consider a draw too? Now, I mean, because see, it's weird for me. I don't know how people judge us because we run weekly. I don't know if they give us a little leeway with their judgment because we're having to try to do this every single week. And then, are we a little harsher on the people that run every month because they only have to do it once a month?
I have personally been in this federation's crowd on multiple occasions since they reappeared up here, and for, I want to say, 2 years, this is 14, for 2 years, every show I went to, every available seat was put out, and 95, 97% of them were filled. Total numbers, especially at their current facility, total numbers, 100 plus ish. But That's what they have the ability to do. So they can draw in that on a bi-weekly basis with a show that we repeatedly see video being posted on kayfabe board, on Shootin Range board, and
Well,
it's torn apart, and people go, oh my God, how the hell can this crap be put on here?
Well, the first thing is
How-
how many are family and friends?
Who-
Because I know who we're talking about. They're talking about
Yeah.
SRPW.
Oh, I
I'll
thought
say
he was.
it out
I
loud. No.
thought he was talking about that.
First off,
that-
keep the mic the right way, man, right there.
I thought he was talking about that Fed that I heard he was starting. BPW, Burnham Progression Wrestling.
Shut up, man. He's,
That's beard professional wrestling.
he's talking about
pro-
SRPW.
progression.
And
dude.
most of us do believe SRPW is shit.
I watched a little bit of something from them today. and I
I've not
shouldn't have.
seen a match from there that I thought was good yet.
No, I watched
Um,
the clip. It was bad.
And that's why I say, we need facts. We need to know. I would love to make that a subject. I'm not going to say that a shit show can't draw. It depends where it's at, what its demographic is.
I'll just say what I
he
saw
could
that was
be-
posted was, hey, look at this kid almost break
I know
his neck.
I only
though.
have so many minutes.
Yeah, I know.
What was posted doesn't matter. He's talking about what was in the crowd.
I
And
get
he's saying
that.
for the most part,
I just saying
they're
I'm
getting
not
about 100
saying the whole thing
people
was
every
bad.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which nobody would say is bad draw-wise. My question would be is how many are actually paying? How many are family and friends? Because I'm going to guess that all 100 aren't paying customers. I'm going to guess that there are quite a few family and friends there. I'm going to guess that there are quite a few freebies in there. I would love some legit facts. So that will always, if I drop my prices to $5 a seat here, which is what I believe it is there, I would probably sell an extra 30 seats a week, I would guess, an extra 35. And I consider it every once in a while if the money would equate, to, hey, if it gets us 35 more people, does it get us kind of close to what we're drawing in right now money-wise? Would I do it just for a little fuller seats? Maybe. I don't know. It depends. But it is $5 a ticket there, right?
I believe it is, yes.
So, you have to look at all the conditions. It's bi-weekly. It's $5 a ticket. Some family and friends, some freebies, certain demographic. I'm guessing is not in the best part of town, so it's something for the less fortunate to do. I'm guessing. So there are reasons that are gonna. Plus, I think Tulsa has a population of over 1 million people. Am I wrong?
No, I think that's about right.
So, I look at several factors, Do I think that show would draw 100 every other week in Lawton, Oklahoma? No. But that's just opinion. I can't prove it because I don't think I'm ever going to see it run here. But my point being, this is a much smaller population. You're dealing with about 120,000 people here in this local community. So it's just a lot less to draw on. So I don't know. We can get into that discussion. You put me in a weird spot because I'd say, a shit show shouldn't draw, but can it? Sure, depending on how it's set up. There's always someone out there willing to pay for some form of entertainment, and if that's all you can afford, and it's close to home and it's in your area, and like I said, over 1 million people, man. Mid-South barely promotes at all. And, they're regularly drawing 100 people. We had a bad house this last week, but for the most part, am I correct? For the most part, they're drawing somewhere around 100 most shows, and then for some of these bigger shows we do, they're drawing over 100. And, we could always say, well, yeah, and we feel like they have better matches and some better talent. That's true. But
They're waiting for me to start working again.
But they don't promote worth a shit. We all know that, and yet they still get those numbers, and that's just because, man, it's a lot bigger population.
90 seconds.
If I didn't promote here, could you imagine what the crowds would look like? If I just never went out there and ran commercials or got posters and flyers out or tried to do the stuff we do to get the people in here legitimately, because there's just as many things well, not as many things to do in the city, but there's all kinds of things you can spend your money on for entertainment here, just like there is anywhere else. And my point is, there's only
60 seconds.
There's only 120,000 people here to spend their money. So when they're going to find other things to do. I have to fight to get those people here in my show because there's not as many. Up there with 1 million people, even with so many things to do, there's just more and more people that still need something to go do. Does that make sense? Some of it?
It does.
So
Yeah.
you're just dealing with a different pool of people, a different amount of people, demographics, ticket price, bi-weekly. Hell, tell them to start running weekly, charge 8 adults, 6 kids, and then start doing pay-per-views where he charges 20, 12, 8, and 6, and all that jazz, and then let's see what he's drawn in 6 months. I mean, I don't know. It is time to go home. Next week's
10
subject,
seconds.
thanks to Chris Burnham, next week's subject, you'll hear it right now, it's shit shows.
Word
Should
life.
they draw? Well, we're now off air, Burnham. We will make that next week's subject. Can you hear me?